Disaster is often remembered as a single moment: the collision, the explosion, the sinking. History compresses catastrophe into an instant where everything changes forever. But survival is rarely that simple. Living through disaster does not restore certainty. Sometimes it simply means continuing forward while knowing how fragile everything truly is. Violet Jessop understood this intimately. Working aboard the great ocean liners of the early 20th century, she survived the collision of the RMS Olympic, the sinking of the RMS Titanic, and the destruction of the HMHS Britannic during World War I. Again and again, she witnessed how quickly order could collapse into chaos. And yet, she kept returning to sea, because survival for Jessop was not about escaping danger forever. It was about continuing despite knowing danger could always return. Violet Jessop was born in Argentina in 1887 to Irish immigrant parents. Her early life was marked by instability, illness, and financial uncertainty. As a child, she contracted tuberculosis and was not expected to survive. She did. That pattern, surviving situations others did not, would follow her throughout her life. After her father died, her family moved to London, where economic survival became a daily concern. Eventually, Jessop began working as a stewardess aboard passenger ships, helping care for wealthy travellers crossing the Atlantic. It was demanding work, long hours, constant service, little recognition, but it offered stability in an unstable world. The early 20th century was the golden age of ocean liners. Massive ships became symbols of national pride and industrial achievement. Companies competed to build vessels larger and more luxurious than anything the world had seen before. Among them was the White Star Line, operator of the enormous Olympic-class liners. To passengers, these ships represented modern progress, safety, prestige, human mastery over nature itself. But beneath the elegance remained an unavoidable truth. The ocean was indifferent to engineering ambition. For workers like Jessop, the glamour mattered less than discipline. Their job was to maintain calm and order even when conditions turned dangerous. That expectation would soon be tested. In 1911, RMS Olympic collided with the British warship HMS Hawke. The accident did not sink the vessel, but the damage was severe. Steel tore open. Panic spread quickly among passengers who suddenly realized that even the largest ship in the world could be vulnerable. Violet Jessop survived the incident and continued working. For many people, one disaster would have been enough reason to leave the sea behind. Jessop stayed, perhaps because survival can create a strange relationship with fear. Once someone witnesses catastrophe and endures it, danger becomes less theoretical, but continuing forward can also begin to feel normal. In 1912, Jessop boarded the RMS Titanic as a stewardess on its maiden voyage. The ship carried enormous public attention. Newspapers celebrated it as an engineering triumph. Some claimed it was practically unsinkable. Then came the iceberg. What followed was not cinematic clarity, but confusion, noise, cold, fragmented instructions spreading through crowded decks while passengers struggled to understand the scale of what was happening. Jessop helped guide people toward lifeboats as the ship slowly died beneath them. Eventually, she herself was ordered into lifeboat 16. Hours later, the Titanic disappeared beneath the Atlantic. More than 1,500 people did not survive. Jessop did. The sinking of the RMS Titanic became one of the most famous disasters in modern history. Public confidence in technological invincibility shattered almost overnight. Investigations followed. Safety regulations changed. Lifeboat requirements expanded. Maritime procedures evolved. But for survivors, the disaster was not merely historical, it was personal memory. And yet, remarkably, Violet Jessop returned to sea. Not because the danger disappeared, because life still had to continue. During World War I, the sister ship to Titanic, the HMHS Britannic, was converted into a hospital ship. Jessop worked aboard it as a nurse. In 1916, disaster struck again. The Britannic hit a mine in the Aegean Sea and began sinking rapidly. This time, the danger unfolded even faster than Titanic. Lifeboats were pulled into the ship's giant propellers. Chaos spread across the decks. Jessop jumped into the water to escape being dragged beneath the vessel. The impact caused a serious head injury she would only fully understand years later. Once again, she survived. 3 major maritime disasters. One person still alive to remember them all. After surviving the RMS Olympic, the RMS Titanic, and the HMHS Britannic, Violet Jessop became known by some as Miss Unsinkable. The nickname sounds triumphant, almost supernatural, but survival stories are often misunderstood. Survival does not make someone untouchable. It usually leaves the opposite impression, a heightened awareness of how quickly ordinary life can collapse. Jessop did not become immune to danger. She simply learned to continue living alongside uncertainty. That distinction matters. One reason Jessop's story endures is because she was not a captain, inventor, or political leader. She was a worker performing difficult responsibilities inside extraordinary situations. Her courage was procedural, helping passengers, following emergency orders, maintaining calm during panic, returning to work after trauma most people would never fully recover from. History often focuses on dramatic heroes making singular decisions. But many disasters are survived because ordinary people continue functioning while everything around them fails. Jessop became part of that hidden architecture of survival. We often imagine survival stories ending with escape, the moment someone reaches safety and the danger finally disappears. But life rarely works that way. Violet Jessop spent much of her life carrying memories of catastrophe while continuing to move through the same world that produced it. Years later, she described receiving a strange phone call from a woman asking whether she had once saved a baby aboard the RMS Titanic. During the evacuation, Jessop had briefly cared for an infant in a lifeboat before the child was taken away after rescue. The caller claimed to be that baby. Then she hung up. No one knows whether the story was true, but somehow it feels fitting. After all, Violet Jessop's life already sounded impossible, and still Jessop kept moving forward. Not because danger disappeared, but because she refused to let catastrophe define the limits of her life. Some stories fade, others wait to be heard.